Today I'm looking at the BLF LT1 Mini made by Sofirn. This has been in the works for several years now over on the BLF forums. It's a miniaturized version of the larger LT1 model while still maintaining many of the same features thanks to Anduril 2 firmware. Thanks to Sofirn for sending this to me to look at and review. They currently have a discount available if you decide to purchase this light, and I'll have details on that below in the comments. Along with my social media links, if you aren't already following, I'd love you to give me a follow. I don't post a ton, so I won't spam you. Packaging and accessories here, it's the standard Sofirn cardboard box. The light's protected with bubble wrap inside, and the diffuser here has a plastic layer on it. The lantern comes with an optional 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and other accessories include O-rings, lanyards, USB A to C cable, and my light didn't come with a manual, but that will come with yours. So let's talk about the construction and design here. The light is basically the LT1 but scaled down, and I've got this zoomed in a little bit here, but you can kind of see here. They're very similar in design, not exact, but similar. However, instead of 4 18650s in the original LT1, you've got one 21700 battery here. You also lack the 1/4-20 screws for tripod mounting on the side and on the tail that the LT1 has. You've still got the wire hanger at the top here, which is pretty convenient and nice. You still got the original button here, which actually has a T on it for Thor fire. If you know the history of the light here, that'll make sense. The branding is minimal. You've got the Sofirn LT1 Mini, and you do have your markings at the bottom. Kind of interestingly, there is no serial number on mine. I don't know if that is because that it is a pre-production or not. And you'll notice a few dings on mine. I used this on the 4th of July, gave it to a nephew, and he loved it, and it may hit the ground a few times that I didn't notice. So not a big deal. This is a user. The base here is slightly flared out, and that gives the light a little bit more stability. It's not the most stable thing here. It's relatively tall and not a ton of room at the base, but that's no different from most of your other 21700, 18650 flashlights that tail stand here. You do have a mounting hole at the bottom for your lanyard. You've got some heat sinking there. You've got your USB-C port. It's the same port cover that's used on the LT1 and the LT1S. It's a fantastic port cover. The diffuser here actually unscrews fairly easily. Go ahead and shut it off. It's just a clear plastic diffuser with a little bit of reflective tape or something in the top there. I didn't actually try and unscrew the top. And this is what it looks like inside. You got your 4 LEDs. Those are Samsung LH351Ds. You've got 2 in warm white and 2 in cool white. I'll talk more about those later. On the inside of the head, you do have the spring, and you've got programming pads down there that you might be able to see. Those are a little bit in a hard position to get to, but not too bad. I did not try and take the circuit board out of the light for any modifications there. I did go ahead and put a magnet in on the tail cap. You can barely see down there. Now, this isn't super strong, but it works reasonably well. I can pull out a knife here, and it won't hold itself up on the side, but it will hold itself up upside down. So I may have to end up getting a different magnet to make this work a little bit better. While the LT1 is available in black at the moment, Sofirn has said they will make it in the same colors as the LT1. So keep an eye out for that if you want a specific color. I know they've got a tan, which is what I've got here, and then a green as well. I believe it's orange too. Retention wise, this feels good in the hand. It's not too big. Its diameter is what we used to with the 21700 light, so it's easy to grab hold of. The knurling there gives you some grip. You do have that lanyard hole attachment at the bottom there, and you've got the bail at the top to hang the light on a branch or via rope. So those are all good things. The light is IPX8 water rated and drop rated to about 1.5 meters, I believe. All pretty standard stuff for most flashlights. The LED and beam here, the light is using those 4 Samsung LH351Ds that I mentioned, and they're mounted at the bottom here in a square configuration. There are 2 2700 Kelvin and 2 5000 Kelvin LEDs. Both are high CRI. My Opometer measured them with the diffuser on at 2893 Kelvin and 4776 Kelvin, both with a RA or CRI of 96. The beam pattern here is nice and diffused, no complaints there. Now I didn't put this one in my lumen tube because flashlight lanterns just don't work very well in a homemade lumen tube, but this is good for about 300, 350 lumens or so. Not the brightest thing in the world, but does pretty well. You can adjust the tint as well here. I've got it on the neutral white at the moment, but I can step it down through different tints, and you can see kind of the difference there. That'll show up in my night shots too. It does ramp your tints or your brightness as well, or you can turn that step, normal Anduril stuff. Here are my night shots for the Sofirn and BLF LT1 Mini. And I've got it next to the normal LT1 here, which I will turn on later. But this is in the warmer mode, about 2700 Kelvin, 96 CRI. This is on the lower modes, using the Samsung LH351D, as I've said before. Go ahead and ramp it all up. This is as bright as it goes, about 310 lumens or so. This is fine. It does a nice job of spreading out light here. It's very even and is enough for this area, or even a little bit more than that. I will go ahead and ramp down just so you can kind of see a little bit here. It does tint shift as well, so 3 clicks and holding there, and you can see it goes cooler. So this is the top end of the cool, about 5,000 Kelvin or so, and does the same thing, ramps up and down in brightness. You can also run anywhere in between there, so I will go ahead and warm it up a little bit. That's about where I like it, kind of a warm, neutral light. This is run Anduril 2, so you've got a bunch of Anduril 2 features. You've got the Firefly mode, you've got the Candle and Thunderstorm Lightning mode, I guess is what they call it. All these are things I've covered before. I covered some of them in my LT1 video most recently. So that's all stuff there. You can adjust the brightness of the button here. Dim orange right now, I can click 7 times, and there it is in its brighter mode. It'll be in a blinking kind of beacon mode, which is kind of neat. This would be probably great if you were gonna camp or hike with it. And off as well. I like low mode myself. If I compare it to the LT1 here, full brightness, they look really similar, but they're not. The full size LT1 does close to 800 lumens, and this does only 300 or so. It's hard to tell that via the eye and via the camera, but you can tell it more just based on the distance of how it throws. That the full size LT1 is brighter, no doubt about that. That is my night shots for the BLF and Sofirn LT1 Mini. It's a great lantern if you're looking for one. I'd highly recommend it. For my heat and runtime tests, I ran all 3 tests with each emitter combination, comparing percentage of runtime. All 3 modes here are pretty identical in terms of output, and it is what you'd expect. Your neutral white, where running both sets of LEDs consumes slightly more power than the cool whites or the warm whites. And it doesn't get hot enough to be concerned with in the hand. It really not a lot of heat. And that heat is put through the body mostly instead of the top that you see on the LT1. This light runs Anduril 2, same version as the LT1 does, or V2 LT1. You got your simple mode, which is what the manual primarily covers. I'm not gonna go over Anduril a ton. You guys know it. Then you've got your advanced modes. Specifically down here, what people really like with Anduril on a lantern is your lightning and candle modes. They just look neat, they just work well. Anduril 2 has a lot of flexibility in tint and output, either with ramping or stepped. As I mentioned, I've got it in ramping at the moment, which is what I like, but it also can do stepped. And again, you can adjust the tint of the light easily. Double click to go to turbo. The button here is configurable on if you want it to light up or not. Not the easiest firmware in the world to get a hold of, but once you use it and practice it and study the diagram, it becomes fairly easy. So recharging here is accomplished via USB-C on the back. The port cover fits nicely. It comes with a Sofirn branded 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and I tested it from low voltage protection at 2.738 volts to full, and it took 3 hours 51 minutes to charge, just over 1.6 amps. I measured the battery capacity at 4,850 milliamp hours. When charging, the light here goes from orange to blinking blue, and then when charged it goes solid blue. The light does work as a power bank, which is nice. I've got my phone plugged in there, came on, and it does show solid blue while it is acting as a power bank here. So that's a nice feature to top up if you're camping or something like that. You can do that. Right now I'm running the light off a 21700, but the light will run off a 18652. I've got an ace beam here. It's a button top and protected, so a little bit longer cell, and it ends up fitting in here just fine. Turns on, and surprisingly there's really no rattle. I think if you had a flat top 18650, it would give you a little bit of rattle. I took the light around on the 4th of July festivities. I passed it through the hands of Minnie. We used it to light fireworks, find fuses, and my nephew loved it as a lightsaber. The design here is more prone to tipping over than the LT1 or LT1S, but not much more than a normal 21700 flashlight that stands on its tail. I think Sofirn could have mitigated this by including a magnet from the factory. Maybe we'll see a revised tail cap that you can buy as an accessory. I think that'd be really nice. And it's pretty easy to DIY if you find the right size of magnet as well. I think that the LT1 Mini is going to be the size and weight that works for a lot of people, whereas the LT1 was just a bit too heavy. The LT1S is kind of short, which I love, and stable, but it's still fairly large in diameter. So this is kind of that in between. It's easy to fit into a bag, and it's roughly the size of a normal flashlight, just a little bit longer. It also has the Anduril 2 firmware, which the LT1S lacks, and I think a lot of people were missing, and that's certainly an enthusiast feature, but this is an enthusiast light. The LT1 is still the king when it comes to output and runtime, but the LT1 Mini comes in a close second while saving size and weight. So let me know what you think of the LT1 Mini. I know some of you guys are getting them right now or probably had them for a week or two. Remember, I do have that discount that Sofirn is offering right now, and I'll have that in the description below. I'm not getting commission or anything off that, but it does let Sofirn know you guys enjoy my reviews and value the content. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next review soon. Thanks for watching.